Can I just continue the discussion we had last night on this bill? And to say, first of all, I'd like to thank Minister Nick Smith, who very timely, in the nick of time, if you like, made a change in the bill, the recommendation that we had on behalf of the Minister, actually, that this bill will come into force by 1st of April, which is today. So he had to put a SOP, if you like, and he changed at the last moment, but a few minutes before 12 last night. So I'm glad that he put the amendment, and we are now able to pass this bill even today rather than last night. And secondly, I'm delighted that he explained that the concerns of some of the processors that they have in their submissions during the Select Committee process, that they thought the auction system may not be fair to them, particularly the smaller players like Green Valley and also the Cadbury. They were concerned that the auction system may not be fair and equitable for them, and I'm glad that the Minister explained that last night, and particularly the fact that in over 300 auctions per week are likely to take place. So it's a lot of auctions, and there's always a concern that it may not be suitable for particularly the small players processor. But Mr. Speaker, this morning I really want to discuss one point, I think, which hasn't been raised in the discussion so far, and that is my colleague mentioned that how overseas buyers are interested in our dairy farms and in our dairy industry, and Chinese and the Russians and Singaporeans and other interests want to buy into our dairy. And Mr. Speaker, I can understand what's going on here, particularly with my science background. You know, Mr. Speaker, milk is one of the biomaterial which is highly sought after. Very active biomaterial. Now, what's happening, those of us who know what's going on at Fonterra Dairy Research Institute, the old DRI, in Palmerston North and across University at Massey, there's a lot of research going on in terms of the products, particularly in the pharmaceutical. There's a lot of work going on into product development with the pharmaceutical. Just imagine that these upcoming countries like China and India and other countries who do need this biomaterial for producing pharmaceuticals. And imagine these countries making these pills out of this milk as a base, and have their big industries around that. And over time, the countries who are going to add value to this product, which we have as a commodity at the moment. So these people are looking ahead in strategic terms, so they can invest into our dairy farms and into our processing plants to ensure supply of these future products, if you like, particularly into pharmaceuticals and other biomaterial. So I think we've got to be very careful, particularly when overseas interests are wanting to buy our dairy farms and also getting into our processing plants as well. So I think the dairy being, in my view, a strategic asset in this country, we've got to make sure that all the, particularly the Fonterra, is kept in our hands so we can add value in the long term particularly into pharmaceuticals and other products, particularly a lot of drinks. I had the opportunity to visit DRI in a recent time, and I saw a huge amount of material being processed for different products from milk. And I think we should not forget the value of, in the longer term, going forward, the value of the milk that we have. And we are lucky in this country that we have those the amount of milk that can be used as a biomaterial for these products. So I think that's an important point to remember. Also, Mr. Chairman, we have heard over a number of times that this industry, which is now export market, 27% of the total market is on milk, and the milk products, which is, it's changed, but I understood it was about 25%, and then obviously it's gone up over recent times. So clearly, the dairy industry in New Zealand is important for our future of our dairy farmers, 10,500 farmers who not only their livelihood, but the livelihood and the income of our people in the future is dependent on the dairy industry as we convert more and more farms into this, and the demand, particularly from Asia, is going up. I think we've got to make sure that we are prepared into the new technology and the new way of doing things, just like we are doing the online auction of overseas export of milk. Similarly, now with this bill, we are hoping to introduce auction and hopefully maybe online auction over time, and particularly the milk for excess milk that we have, 600 million litres at the moment, 5% of the milk from Fonterra for small operators, and that I think it's important that those small operators, small processors, that they are happy with the system that we put in place. And I think a lot of work has to go around setting up this auction system, and I hope there's a good consultation with these processors, so the milk that they buy, that they are happy. And of course we got, Fonterra wants 10 cents per kilogram milk solid as a fair value or seasonal value of milk, the word being used. Of course, some of the operators, some of the potential processors are not happy with that, but clearly there has to be some margin, if you like. So with those words, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to commend this bill to the House.